verse from the King James Version. Stand fast, therefore, in the liberty wherewith Christ has made us free, and be not entangled again with the yoke of bondage. Amen. You may be seated. I want to use as a subject this morning the Emancipation Proclamation of the Christian faith. The Emancipation Proclamation of the Christian faith. Paul was writing, and we think he was writing from Corinth, to the churches in Galatia. Now, Galatia wasn't a city like Kyle, but Galatia was a province. There's a province, and it was like a state, and it had several cities within that state. And in my studies, I found out that Galatia was really, now it's called France. So Galatia was part of Paul's European missionary ventures. Amen? And I had always thought that Galatia was in Asia, in the Far East, but Galatia is now what is known as France. And so Paul has moved into, let me go ahead and call it France, the ancestors of the French. And there he met for the first time people who eventually would be part of the people who would begin to occupy the United States. Amen. And so Paul is writing this letter, and it's one of the most emotional letters that Paul writes, because of the fact that the Judaizers had now moved in to trouble the church. And what the Judaizers were teaching is that to be saved, you had to have Christ plus the law. And Paul got angry with them. And Paul told them, you know, this bad teaching that you're doing, talking about everybody has to be circumcised. Everybody has to follow the Mosaic law, the ceremonial law. Paul got upset with them, and he said, I wish you would go all the way and emasculate yourselves. Those are strong words. You know, if you're saying, if you really mean what you say, then go ahead and do that. As I was thinking, and I'm not going to be long with you this morning, but we have just celebrated Juneteenth and the Emancipation Proclamation when we African Americans received, when the state of Texas received word that the slaves were free. And so Paul likens his situation, or I liken Paul's situation to our situation. That if someone told us now that you're free, but now I want you to go back into slavery. Amen. That's what Paul was saying. They were saying that you've been made free, but now I want you to go back into slavery and to do the things that you used to do. And that don't make a bit of sense. Amen. But that's what the Galatians were doing. They were free to worship God in love. Amen. But now somebody is coming along and trying to tell them that the only way to be saved is that you got to also uphold the law. In other words, the law of circumcision. Paul said, no, you don't. And anybody that's telling you that that's not right, they're teaching you a different gospel. That's why Paul says, stand fast, therefore, in the liberty. You know, don't go back, because Christ has set you free. And don't get entangled again with the yoke of bondage. Don't get caught up in the thinking that you've got to be, one has got to be circumcised, and one's got to wash their hands 7 times a day, and one's got to do this and do that, or otherwise you're not clean. Paul was saying, if you believe